One family, one people, one planet, one love. One family, one people, one planet, one love. One family.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to SoulCall Sunday. My name is Lisa Ferreira. I'm the founder and spiritual director of SoulCall Global. Welcome to everyone who's in the room today. Hey, you may have noticed how sharp and clean the lines look today. You can see all my hair and all my curls. I want to thank Root for the upgrade on our video camera.
Hey, Bruce.
Let's hear it. Check it out. So this morning, we're going to, as we continue into the theme for the month of January, which is simplicity, nothing is quite as simple as silence. So that's the theme for today. The topic for today is silence. And we're going to explore the silence together a little bit in meditation. And I pulled some really wonderful quotes from all the different faith traditions, all of some of our favorite poets and authors and just people we like to quote, right? Teaching us how to go within, the things that we appreciate about these people who hear the music of the spheres. And they all try to tell us the same thing, is to turn that focus inward. And by going deep within, we go further beyond those ideas, as Rumi always says, of thoughts and ideas. We go past all of that to where all of everything is. So that's what we're going to explore today. And as I always say, the infinite speaks to us through the language of our hearts. So whatever it is that is in your heart, through your heart is the door of your soul. And that's your soul song, that's your soul's language. And it could be different every day, right? If we're fully present in the moment, we might be called to do something we've never done before. And at that moment, we just listen to that voice, the still small voice, until that still small voice becomes the one you hear most often, the one we hear most often. Then we're living in that idea of practicing the presence. And it becomes more simple. We awaken all of the characteristics of the soul, that courage with heart, that faith, that trust, that I don't know why I'm doing this, but I know it's the right thing to do. And then all of eternity, really everything rushes toward you in an instant. So we're going to explore that today. That's my mini talk. Thank you very much for joining us. And for everyone who braved the cold, not so much the cold, but the snow this morning.
Whoa.
It's kind of nice driving slowly in the snow. You can hear it crunch under your tires, or maybe you'll go for a walk later to walk the dog, or I'll watch you walking your dogs from my comfortable window, thinking how nice for them and how nice for me. So we're going to begin with a practice, first of all, and happy Lunar New Year to all of our Asian friends celebrating Chinese New Year. And we happen to have the very best Buddha in the house, if you're into the traditional dances. Helen Yi with us to invite us into this practice of putting together mind, body, spirit, going within, practicing Qigong. So if you could find a space in the room where you would like to practice with us, that would be great. So we do this every once in a while. I'm gonna do a little Zoom.
Yes, happy Chinese New Year.
Wait, it followed me. This new camera follows me
So
wherever
you're
I
gonna
go.
use
So I need to make it not do that. Wait, hold on.
How do you do that?
I don't know. I think this is how I do it. No, now it's following you. Okay,
Oh,
you do
okay.
it. Take it away.
Nice technology there, Lisa. Like Big Brother's watching.
Yeah, I just can't follow me to the restroom. So that's
Yeah, that's good. That's a good thing. Welcome, everyone. And yes, happy Chinese New Year. It's the year of the rabbit. So much luck to everyone for this new year and blessings. And also not only relying on the luck of the rabbit and the new year, but really trust your intuition. And I want you to really focus inward and just start to breathe. The simplicity of breathing, pulling in all that life force through our breath. Bring the awareness within, feeling yourself come into alignment with your energy, with the chi. Now bringing your hands to your lower dantian. Feel that battery center where chi is stored. Feel the breath going in and coming out. From here, relax your arms down, bringing them up, floating them up as if you have 2 helium balloons on your wrist, gathering the chi of the universal yang energies, directing it into the byway, beaming it in, and now guiding it with your mind's focus and awareness, relaxing the elbows, drawing it in, allowing it to absorb deep into the mitochondria of the cells, deep into the bone marrow, where blood cells are produced, feeling it going into the muscles, into the pores of the skin, nourishing the different organs and the systems of the body, pushing out any stagnation, any blockages. See that visualization of the golden light of chi. Relaxing the shoulders, bringing your arms front and back, gathering the universal chi from this direction, facing forward, again, guiding the chi down, relaxing the elbows. Feel that nourishment coming in as a golden light penetrates into all the different cells and all the different systems of the body, releasing any kind of negative blockages, allowing the flow of the chi, blood, and lymph. Relaxing the shoulders, and now bringing the left hand up front and back, facing the front. Again, guiding that chi with all the intention, all the focus, all your positive emotions. Feeling that joy, keeping that smile on your face. Feel the tingling of that intrinsic vibration increasing into higher frequencies. Relaxing your shoulders, relaxing your arms, bringing this feeling with you throughout the day. Peace and joy. Gung Fa Choi.
Say it again.
Gung Fa Choi.
Dongi Facho. Gongi Facho. Thank you. Thank you, Helen. I was going to follow, get the trade off. See if we can fake out camera. Thank you, Helen.
Thank you.
Wow. So just taking all of that in, let's just feel it, that chi pulsating through our cells, and just get into one of your favorite asanas for meditation, preferably if you're here with us in your chair. Just with your feet flat on the floor, your spine straight. Try to have your chin parallel to the floor to open up that meridian in the back of the neck, tip of the spine, and the base of the brain, the medulla oblongata. Just take this into meditation, following the beautiful breath. And just do an opening prayer. Oh, infinite divine beloved, make our souls thy temple. Make our hearts the beloved home, where we may live and dwell with thee forever and ever. Our soul is the home we take with us, wherever we go. Help us to open to the silence, to listen to the song of our soul. to feel and experience more of our divine nature, which is in fact the truth of who we are. Om. Peace, Shanti, and so be it. Allow this beautiful song to wash over you. I don't want to give words to this. Anything you have to interpret will only eclipse the heart of it. I just want to send it in a sound with a wavelength of clarity. Not that I could ever say or resonate the same way that this love does in me. Inhale, exhale, breathe. Somewhere in the beat of your heart, there I am. Somewhere underneath all the war-torn believing, there you have always been. It's something like a melody, it's something like a song, and it sings itself and it's never wrong. Ooh, everywhere it plays for me, it's always on repeat. It's the love song of everything. Inhale, exhale, breathe. It's not just there in my body, not just there in the thoughts that I think. It's there in the roots and the skies and the seas and the islands, the irises, the wind and the wings, and the will be, the everyone is the reason, and the just because. I am the song that I sing. Inhale, exhale, staying in that stillness. Allow yourself to follow your breath, experience silence. opening to the peace of this moment, the truth of this bliss, the experience of oneness, allowing it to bleed through all the thoughts and ideas that come rushing in from the outside like waves to the shore. Allow those thoughts to be absorbed in the sand before they reach you. Allow this force field, this vortex of energy, expand around you. Keeping truth intact. Leading with an open heart. And may the only energy we push forth be love, be compassion for all beings. In this experience of earthly trauma, may we be the balm, the salve for the soul. May we be mental sunshine for all who cross our path, as Yogananda would say. Let it be me. Let it be me. Teach me to be more present. And allow this light, this love, to be more centered and grounded in this human form as I live my soul in this lifetime. And so be it. Let's hear for our wonderful Jessie Powers, who is here with us this morning. Yeah. So grateful. And you got another song for us before we start the talk?
I do.
Excellent.
Sure do.
I sure do.
Sure do. It's the Chinese New Year today. And I wrote this song really close to our New Year. Well, my New Year, I suppose I should say. Not everybody in this room says that the 31st of December is the New Year. But anyway, so it's called Born Again. It's a waiting game, dying to the light. It's just a waiting game till it's time. And the winter is coming, no matter what we do. And the springtime of the soul is coming too. When all the old ways pass away and every night has had its day, I'll step into a brand new way of seeing, and I'll be born again. I'll be born again. I'll be born again, and then I'll see. In the end, I'll always be born again. It's the way of the mind to hold on to what we know. And it's the way of love to let go, let go, let go. So let go and let go and let go. And when all the old ways pass away and every night has had its day, oh, by love, surrounded by light. I open my eyes for the very first time. I'll be undone by the glorious sight, the truth I've been searching for all of my life. Surrounded by love, surrounded by light. I open my eyes for the very first time, and I'll be undone by the glorious sight, the truth I've been searching for all of my life. And all the old ways pass away, and every night has had its day. Oh, I'll step into a brand new way of being, and I'll be born again. I'll be born again. Oh, I'll be born again, and then I'll see. In the end, I'll always be.
Amazing. Oh my God. You just wrote that in December?
Yeah.
Just like a couple days ago?
Yeah, a couple
Love
weeks
that.
ago, yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Perfect for today. Of course, you knew that because you know how to do this. Yeah, so like opening into the beauty of that, you know, the talk today is on silence, and I'm only going to say 2 words about it. Be quiet. Thank you very much. No. Wouldn't it be so nice if it were just that simple, to just still the mind, And how many of you have taken we talk about some things to simplify at the beginning of the year, the very first week we talked about maybe taking a diet from social media, a little bit of a fast. How many of you followed through with the fast? I have to watch when I raise my hand. It does something to this camera. Okay, it's not doing it now. I'm still in the camera. But taking the mental, yes, it takes cues, and I talk with my hands a lot, so who knows what's going to happen. It's going to be very, very fun. Very fun. It's not an Italian camera, or I wouldn't do that. But just taking that mental diet, have you noticed your mind a little easier to control? Everyone's like, if you're not nodding, you haven't done it. You're not nodding off yet either, so that's good. Give it a shot. You know, there's so much information incoming, more so than ever before on the planet. So it creates this, that's why part of the prayer today was to keep that distance from other people's thoughts and ideas constantly bombarding us, constantly. So for those of you who made it to the room today, this stillness of, if you came a little late like I almost did, it's snowing like mad outside right now, and it's accumulating on the roads rather quickly. I'm not sure if it was anticipated or not, but God said, let there be snow. And there was snow, so here we are. But you slow down a little bit, right? When we drive, we're a little more aware. Maybe you notice street signs you've never noticed. Like, I never knew that was there. Or a house, or a something or other. When we learn to slow down. So, starting February 21st, I'm going to be teaching a class called The Essential Mystics. And this class is all about pulling from all these different faith traditions that help us to turn the searchlights inside. Find the wisdom of your own soul. They'll all tell you, if you had them all in this room here together, all of the great saints and sages and lights, they're no different from you or me. Paramahansa Yogananda said, a saint is a sinner who never gave up, right? And by the word sinner, he means, the word technically means missing the mark. It doesn't mean eternal hell's fire and damnation. That's not what it means. It's just, you just miss the mark. So you try again, just like you would with anything you want to accomplish. I'm looking at many accomplished people in this room, and everything that we're good at took a minute. Right? Some things we were born with, you just knew how to do that. I don't know why I was good at this, but all right. But then we develop it to make it a more reliable part of our character. How? We spend time in the stillness, in the quiet, with this thing, cultivating a relationship. So this morning, the idea is to cultivate a deeper relationship with whatever you call God, the infinite, Goddess, Divine Mother, Spirit. Cultivating an intimate relationship, one that you can hear it when it's talking to you, just as you can hear my voice. And it's the one that you go to when you really need to know, what do I do next? And sometimes the what you do next is just be patient. Oh, so now I need to be quiet and patient? Oh yeah. I don't know about you, but that's sometimes the hardest thing. We just want to rush in and do it. Do it. I remember when my parents were teaching me how to drive. I had already been watching people drive, and I knew I'd be a good driver. Did you know that about yourself?
Yes.
Like, just give me the wheel. I could do this thing. But I would watch the bus drivers, especially because I wanted to drive a stick shift because I thought that was so cool. Didn't want to be a bus driver necessarily, but I wanted. So the very first car I got was a car that was a stick shift. Now, talk about patience. My mother taught me how to drive a stick shift. That's different than just driving. It's kind of like rodeo when you're first starting out, right? Horsepower is everything, but it was like a lot like that. But we had patience with each other because the challenge that came up was my mother learned how to drive a stick shift when it was on the panel, on a column. So she knew how to work the clutch, but she didn't know the pattern on the floor, which I knew. So you could see us. We look a little bit alike. She's got red hair and blue eyes too. We're driving off the lot of the car dealership. My mom's driving, and you could hear the RPMs. And she would say, now. She'd step on the clutch, and I'd pull it in. Now. Only it was with my left hand, so it was kind of like. Until we got to just about 2 miles away from our house, where she knew I really knew where I was, every curve, every turn, she pulled the car over and got out. I'm like, what are you doing? She says, you've got to learn how to drive this sooner or later, and I'm not going to be driving with you everywhere you go. So here we go. And I mean, you want to talk about ba-boom, 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 and the terror of stalling and oh my God, a steep grade. What if somebody stops? Like I can't catch it and get. We had patience with each other, which turned into patience for myself. I had to have patience with myself to learn something that I knew I would be able to do, but I just had to get the feel of it, right? So how many of us can cultivate that quiet mind, patience with ourselves in the process as we cultivate the quiet mind to accomplish the great thing I believe we've all come here to do, to know and to have an intimate relationship with God, to know for sure we are connected and everything is well, no matter what the world's definition of all is well is. Even when it's falling apart within us and around us. Right? We've all had experiences where that's it. It's just like, now what? Now what is the only what, the only who, the only it? Now what is thou what? It's always that.
Ooh.
Write that down, Jesse. Write a song.
Now what is thou what?
I gotta watch Now It's Gonna Follow Me. Everywhere I go, it's like this camera. The infinite, it's impossible to get out of the watchful gaze of the infinite. Impossible. And if we can get that, even when it feels like, where are you now? Look what just happened to me. Did it happen to you or did it happen for you? That's always the question. Sometimes it's there to remind us. And sometimes it's painful standing and challenging to stand in your power and your truth. Do you ever have that?
Yeah.
When it's really, you were put there to do a certain thing and it's hard. Because it doesn't look very flattering. It doesn't look, to a lot of people, it looks like chaos and confusion and all this other stuff. But I'm just telling the truth, right? Sometimes it's hard to see. So if you're one of those little truth tellers, it's really important to be honest with yourself, right? Be honest with yourself and to keep clear the channel to the infinite. Because when things leave, people leave, things fall apart around you, just fall as deep as you can go within. just fall back into the arms of Divine Mother. You know, when you ever do those, I don't know, when you're out with a corporate thing, or maybe it's a retreat where you fall into the arms of the people behind you to learn trust, right? Yeah. How many of you are great at that? Just falling back into that. I knew you would be. That's what makes you extraordinary. The rest of us, right? You just kind of like stuff that. I'm falling, but I'm heavier than I look. Are you guys ready? The Infinite knows how heavy you are, how light you are. It knows the burdens you carry. It knows all of it. And that omniscient. And the more we can get out of the idea of linear thinking and trying to understand, you're not ever going to match wits with the Infinite. Ever. That's not the point. Give it up. Like, give that up now. If I had a collection, I would just have like, give it up. It's not about knowing what it knows. It's about needing what you need to know when you need to know it. That's what it expects of us. And we are one with it at all times, to the degree that we allow ourselves to remember that. How convenient. You know, I do spiritual coaching with people, and sometimes we reach this point, we're on the precipice of really diving in and letting go of some of the things that used to bring us joy, temporary fleeting pleasures of the world. All of a sudden, you don't want to do those anymore. They don't bring you joy. And it gets a little confusing for a minute, because it's like, now what? I don't have anybody that thinks the way I do, right? Does anybody really think the way you do all the time? So give that up too, but find where you resonate, mostly within. And it's like magic. You create a charge around you, within you, that comes forth like you are the magnetic charge that will attract the thing, the energy, the feeling of the truth of who you are. All of a sudden, it'll be like magic. Because it is more like magic. There's nothing magical, mystical about it. It's the truth. It's just we're not taught that. Because there are a lot of people who need things from us. They need for you to do it this way. You need to do it that way. You know, I always look at, and I don't suggest we have to do this every week, but you know, we set out chairs, but sometimes someone will pull a chair and go, I don't care if you move your chairs around. We just put them here because it's kind of convenient. We can see each other. But you know, other times people put things in rows and lines, and just to keep us, you know, if you work on music on computers, sometimes you get this thing that's called snap to grid, and it puts it all in line. This is not a snap to grid world. It is if you say so. Not everything is snap to grid. There are no straight lines in nature. You are nature. It's not humans and nature, it's nature. And we are the human aspect of nature. The more we can get with that, the more we just, it becomes laughable, like the people that just laugh at the moon. They're out of their minds, but they're not crazy. They're closer to it. So quietude, you know, I was thinking of a song that we wrote music to, Dr. Maya Angelou. If you listen to yourself in the quietude, you might hear the voice of God. And at the end, I purposefully said, may you hear the voice of God. Because you will. And it's not always the one that says what you want to hear, is it? It's like, that can't be right. Like sometimes we play with cards, like tarot cards. You pull a card, it's like, no, that wasn't the right one. Little kids, I didn't roll it right. I meant to roll a 2. Yeah, well, ever have that experience where you know that's the thing to do, and in your mind, I don't even know how to do that. How am I going to do that? Or how am I going to say that? Or then what's going to happen? We don't need to know that now. We just need to have the courage and the faith and the trust. In that order sometimes. The courage to do the thing, the faith to know that it's the thing, and the trust that it's all going to be for the highest and best. Yeah? All right, so I have something to ask of you. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Here's what I need. No. So Rumi says, when the lips are silent, the heart has 100 tongues. When the lips are silent, the heart has 100 tongues. Like the voice of thundering waters, the Om. You can really hear it. And then you begin to hear it in everything, like beneath everything. It's almost like a bumblebee sometimes at the beginning. then it becomes louder and louder, and you can't not hear it. And it kind of guides you through. It reminds me of, it moves us in turn. I give this analogy once a long time ago, but you may or may not know this. These old, back in the 70s, before I was born, there was that game. Thank you. It was a football game, and you put these little guys, and one of them had, a little felt that you would tuck under its arm. It was like this on the line, but as soon as you turned the electricity on the board, it vibrated the board, and all of a sudden all the little people started to move, and you're trying to get your little, right? It's like that. It's like, you set up the play. We set up the play the way we think it's going to go. If the board turns, and it's like the infinite sets up the play and puts vibration into motion. Sometimes we have the ball. Sometimes we're the one clearing the line for the thing that has the ball. But it can see all of it. Sometimes we can't see the big picture. But when you turn off the small picture, which is all of this, you see the big picture. You can see it, and you know your place in it. Even if you don't know exactly what your role is, you know your place, and that place is this place called here. Another song reference, because Bob inspired the writing of this. So Lao Tzu said, silence is the source of great strength. Do you ever sit with someone and you're telling them all sorts of things and they're just quiet? You want some kind of a response, but they don't say anything. Do you know many people like that? It's obviously you haven't done that with me, because I usually talk a lot. No, I started putting this into practice a lot more, like really acknowledging I don't always have to say something. Sometimes there's nothing to say. Just this past month, 2 huge pieces of information. When I received them from 2 different people, I really had nothing to say. I wasn't speechless, but I really needed to just sit with that for a minute. And they're like, okay, and I'm like, that is a lot. I don't really have anything to say. Why is that important? Because not everything is like a game where you have to volley something back immediately. Sometimes our silence is like the om. We can just offer the space for somebody to say what they need to say, and I don't need to hit something back over the net. Like, I don't have to. So practice silence in response. Sometimes. Not like, what do you want for dinner? You should say something like that all the time, you know what I mean? Or, don't give somebody the silent treatment. That's not permission for couples out there to just start like practicing silence. And practice silence for a whole day. Now see if you can do that. You've heard me say many times, Erika and I would practice silence on Mondays. We would try like the Gandhi practice of, because we usually weren't performing on a Monday. And it would just be a really good day for us to just be in silence all day and try to communicate telepathically, which we did, and we still do to this day. You can dial any loved one out of the ether anytime from the astral world, anytime. Promise you, in my book, when I start finishing that book, we'll explain more how to do that. But it's a practice you have to start now, though. Start it as soon as you can. And I said I used to think, at first when we started to do that, one day I had this thought like, she's just doing this so I don't talk all day. She's smarter than I am. But that wasn't it. And it was the day we looked forward to the most. Do you ever just, that friend you could just be with in silence, you don't have to talk all the time. That friend is the infinite. You'll get volumes. That's not why you do it. So meditation is that key, that silence in the key. So I invite you to join us on Wednesday. Zoom into the room from wherever you are. Just be comfortable and practice meditating. I'm recommitted this week. Yesterday, I was just writing some things I really need to do again. And committing to a long meditation 1 day a week. Long for me would be like 3 hours, right? It's different. Like an hour now is not that much. An hour is nothing. It's nothing. I'm still thinking sometimes in an hour. The more we get into doing things in the world, the more there is to think about. And when we're quiet, it's just like, think about when you were a child, maybe the person who took care of you was your parents or someone else. You're trying to get their attention and all of a sudden you see them go sit down. What'd you do? run right over, Dad, can I have $5? So my dad learned how to keep himself in motion so nobody could ask him for money. But it was just like that. Like your mind does the same thing. As soon as you sit still, all of the thoughts of the day come rushing in to try to get your attention. And you just learn how to say, I will give you my attention. I can give you my attention in 3 hours. I made time for this. I know I have time for this. I make time for that. Or just empty it. We talk about these 6-hour meditation opportunities, and maybe we'll do one. Maybe we'll do a retreat out with the Dempsey, a 6-hour long meditation day. That second 3 hours is the deepest. Because even if you think lots of thoughts, the first 3 hours you probably bunk them all, as the scarecrow would say. And then you get to where the treasures are. And you just open up that channel is what we're trying to do. We're just trying to open it so that when you sit and close your eyes, you can get right to it. Your consciousness knows the way to go. Right? Are you in?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to do it. Confucius says, silence is a true friend who never betrays. What do you think of that? How could it, right? Rumi, let the silence take you to the core of your life. A person I'd never heard of before, Gordon Hempton. Does anybody know who that is? Me neither. But he says, silence is not the absence of something, but the presence of everything. I like that one. Way to go, Gordon. And in the silence, God speaks to us through the language of our hearts. That's a life special. But just finding this invitation into solitude, and getting comfortable in the quiet, turning off all of these suggestions that keep us really tied into it. Do you ever listen to a song in the morning and then it's there all day long?
Mm-hmm.
Choose your songs.
Yeah.
Which song do you want playing in the background of your mind all day? It's probably not, no, I'm not going to do that to you. I almost did. Oh, yeah, Helen was singing a song the other day from some 1970s thing, and I'm like, oh, why did you do that? All the songs. So if you want a song stuck in your head, that was my favorite thing. I started listening to one of our, this place called Here recording. And I listened to it over and over again. And when I stopped and I was falling asleep, quietude came into my head. I'm like, yay! So you can program your subconscious mind, but in the background of your mind, no matter what you're doing, this will become meditation and silence. When your mind idles on God, you're there. And may that be. That's my wish for you. That's my lunar New Year's wish for you, is may the gentleness of the moon remind you always that you're connected to God. In the background of your mind, no matter what you're doing. Yogananda would say, unheard by any. The background of your mind will say, God, God, God. So to practice that, some really simple practical things, I would practice going up, anytime I see stairs, if I were going up the stairs, instead of counting the steps, I would just say, God, 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 God. Or if I'm just walking, God, 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 God. I remember a long time ago, this is like probably 1993, probably. I was sitting, how did this go? Yeah, I was sitting with somebody who was a scholar on Rumi. And I was very fond of Rumi, and I was studying already with a mystic from Turkey before I met Kabir and Camille, and I didn't even know who Edgaluk was and all this kind of stuff. But there was a Sufi from one of the universities in Pittsburgh where I lived. And so I was invited by my dear friends in the meditation group from India to sit with this man and talk Rumi. And he was just very, very knowledgeable, just coming at you like the head of a hammer. And I was coming from this. And he said something, and I'll always remember this moment, because he said, nobody knows what they'll be thinking when they die. And I said, you can't say that. You could say, you don't know what you'll be thinking when you die, but I know what I'm going to be thinking. And my friends loved that. I'm going to be thinking God. Don't tell me. I was really like, don't tell me what I'm going to be thinking. And because I thought, how arrogant. How arrogant. So my wish for you is to have that conviction to be able to say without question what you will be thinking about, because you've developed this relationship there where you realize you're always thinking about it, even when you're thinking about a pen. This is God in form, helping me write down the thoughts it wants to give me. Everything. When that becomes part of your character, a reliable part, watch how the world shifts. Talk about, the symbolism of Moses parting the sea. Nothing can stand in the face of that kind of love and that conviction of connection. Stay in it, stay in that silence, and experience all those blessings and the wonders yet to be. Namaste. Now we've got Jesse Powers. You know. Thank you very much.
Man, Lisa Ferraro's amazing.
Yes.
I just love it. Okay, am I far enough? It's not following me.
No, it's not. I always feel like
But it's watching me. So as we go out into the world, after we're done here, and we're still in the world here, and we think a little more about God, and we try to cultivate more of that stillness within. I hope you think of this song.
We can change the world if we want to. We can change it all if we want. Say it with me, we can be 6 feet apart. We'll bow our heads and honor that which is greater than we are. Take the pain inside your heart and give it to the light. Together we're better, so let yourself remember that tonight. Because we can change the world if we want to. We can change it all if we want. We can change the world if we want to. We can change it all if we want. It isn't mine to ever know the answer to it all. But what I do know is we must go where we are called. Everything is screaming out, honey, it's all inside. Begin with me within and see the peace that we ignite. Stillness is the way. Stillness is the way. Stillness is the way. Stillness is the way. Gonna breathe in, gonna breathe out. That's about all that we can do right now. Maybe it's not ours to figure out today. Gonna be here, gonna be now. Peace of mind's gonna find us somehow. And I know that stillness is the way. 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 And we can change the world if we want to.
Jesse Powers. It's jessepowersmusic.com.
You got it.
jessepowersmusic.com. Buy it up, share it, change the world. Let's see if I can move with you. Yeah, so I want to thank you for joining us wherever you are today, and if you want to put it in the chat and we can say hello. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing us with your friends. If you'd like to sign up for our newsletter, SoulCallGlobal.org, you can sign up for our newsletter there, and we thank you for doing that. We thank you, everyone in the room today. Give yourself a hand. And we also thank you for our contributions that allows us to provide amazing music like that and do the work we do in the world. We've got a food drive coming up at the end of February, and boy, that's always a really special time. This will be our 6th one, maybe? Yeah, in our just under 3 years of existence. So you could send us your contributions at SoulCallGlobal/donate. And I think that's at SoulCallGlobal.org. And if you're in the room, there are little baskets around. They're like little clear things. You could drop your funds in there, and we say thanks. Thank you for joining us. Coming up, Tuesday, February 21st, I'm very excited to offer this class, The Essential Mystics, based on the book by Andrew Harvey. And it's going to be an 8-week class because I have a tendency to think we can cram too much into 6 weeks. And I think the biggest advice I get from people who take my classes is like, it needs to be 8. So we're going to do 8. I listen. Sometimes I can hear that still small voice from everyone outside saying 8. So remember when I was in a Greek band, everything's in 7/8 time, and all of the rest of us were saying 8. You need that 4, to round it out. But anyway, join us. You could sign up today, all the way up until the day of, but get the book. If you go to soulcallglobal.org, there's a link that'll take you right to purchasing the book. So I look forward to seeing you in that class. And I think Chrissy is wrapping up her class, her writing class. Good morning from Livermore, Joy. And there'll be a full schedule. I think we're going to be having a Soul Squad meeting coming up in a couple of weeks to let everybody know what's happening. And we're going to put a lot of that in the newsletter, not this week, but next week. So you can mark your calendars all the way through the end of the year and be with us in person. And some of these events will be hybrid, so you'll be able to join us then too. So also, if you are in need of prayer, please drop us a line at prayers@soulcallglobal.org. Our prayer team works with our healing arts team. And if you would like Reiki or other energetic healing, it's not all in the form of Reiki, but it's a different kind of energy too. It'll hit you in various forms and you will feel it. You'll feel that little zing to the cells. Be like, yeah. You'll be walking and all of a sudden be like, am I on a football thing in the 1970s? Do I have the felt football? You'll feel it. You will feel it from your head to your toes. Or sometimes we get in the crossfire and you don't know why you feel good. You just walk through a little energetic ball of love. And may there be more of those. May you be the start. We could change our world, as Jesse said. So thank you for joining us this morning for Soul Call Sunday. Share us with your friends. You can like us and share us on Facebook. And you can also find us on our YouTube channel, soulcallglobal.org. Lots of exciting things happening this year. And you're part of it, and you're part of the reason why we're here. So I thank you so much. And remember, wherever you are, you want to say it with me? You are loved. Peace and blessings.
One family, one people, one planet, one love.